Good morning, it is Sunday. I'm very frustrated with my main knitting project right now and I haven't crocheted in forever and I'm kind of missing it. So today we're gonna crochet. I'm gonna make ideally 4 little crochet things, 2 bookmarks and 2 scrunchies. We're gonna see how that goes and if I can actually get them done today. I'm fairly confident, but we'll see about it, I guess. For the bookmark, I have a friend who has a birthday coming up and I would like to give her a small handmade thing, so I thought I might give her a bookmark because she does like to read. And then I realized that I have been picking up a few books recently. I really used to like reading as a teenager, but then I kind of stopped, and now I've been picking up a book here and there. And this is what I've been using as a bookmark. It's just a piece of cardboard that I got from some kind of packaging. So I think while I'm at it, I might make myself a bookmark as well. And I think I'll be making filet crochet bookmarks just because I did filet crochet once before. It was a journey, but kind of fun. I made a really big doily, and well, now that some time has passed, I feel ready to take on another filet crochet project, a very small one that should be way more manageable. I pulled this crochet thread out of my stash. I think it should be enough for 2 bookmarks, although I did greatly underestimate the amount of thread I would need to make the doily, so maybe it won't, but I'm hoping it will at least be enough for 1. And then I want to make 2 scrunchies because I have this leftover yarn from my Madeline sweater that I recently completed. I like to find small projects like a scrunchie that I can just make and then have the yarn out of the way and have no leftovers. I have been trying to do my hair recently. I did not this morning, but I've been seeing some people online doing like cute hairstyles as if it's 2012 and I'm on YouTube looking at like a braid tutorial. But it has kind of inspired me to do something with my hair because I used to have really long hair. I never did anything with it. Then I cut it all off. Then I had a buzz cut in the middle. Then I've kind of been growing it out. Then I had this bob length for a while. And now I've been thinking maybe I should grow it out a bit longer. So I'm still not doing anything with it, so I don't know. I tried some hairstyles and I thought it would be fun to have some scrunchies, so that's what I'm gonna try to make out of this. I don't know if it'll be enough yarn. Crochet takes so much yarn, I always underestimate how much I'll need. But let's start with the bookmark. I'm gonna take you along with my little design process, as far as that can be called a design. I will give you the chart later if it works out. I hope it will. I'm just gonna show you what I do to design all kinds of charts, I guess, in filet crochet or color work or lace. So let's not waste any more time and see if I can get all of these things done today. I just made this very tiny swatch because if you don't know, filet crochet is a technique where you create a design out of little squares. So you crochet boxes and you can either leave them empty or fill them, and you would make an empty box by doing a double crochet and then 2 chains, or a full box by making 3 double crochets. And the way you arrange the full boxes later shows some kind of a design. And to make the design, I obviously need to know how many boxes I need. For a bookmark, I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I just want to get kind of an estimate how wide and how long I want it to be. So I'm gonna measure how big my little swatch here is, and then I can start on the chart. So my filet crochet box is about 0.7 centimeters in width and in height. And I'm now trying to figure out how big I want my bookmark to be. So I have my book here with me. And I think I want it to be about 5 centimeters wide, but now I'm struggling to figure out how long a bookmark should be. Should a bookmark be longer than the book so it sticks out at both ends, or should it be shorter than the book so you kind of lay it like in the middle of the page somewhere and then it only sticks out at the top? I don't know. How are bookmarks made? I need to Google bookmarks. This is embarrassing. Okay, I've done some Googling and it seems to be that paper bookmarks are usually shorter than the book, which makes sense, but my first instinct was to go longer than the book. And then I looked on Ravelry at other bookmarks and most people seem to be going longer than the book. So I don't know. I feel like because the paper is so thin, it doesn't really matter if it only goes down halfway the book. But for the fabric, it's going to be thicker, so it would feel kind of bulky and weird if it was only covering part of the book. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm just going to make mine longer. I don't care anymore. I'm going to aim for 26 centimeters. Okay, you're in my Excel now, which is what I use for all of my chart designs. I think that's what most people use for all of their chart designs. So I'm going to be showing you this. The first thing I need to do is I need to create square boxes because, as I explained, filet crochet consists of little square boxes, and these boxes aren't very square. So I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to go to format, and I'm going to change the row height to 30 and the column width to 4.5. That gives you kind of a square. I'm sure there's other numbers that give you kind of a square. This is the numbers that I've been using. And then I like to select all of the boxes I want to be part of my design. In this case, it's pretty easy because it's just a rectangle. So I think I said about 40 boxes in height and then 10 boxes in width. And then I like to just put a border around them so I can see what is part of the design and what is just part of the sheet. And then in this case, I can already start my design. I use the color fill in feature for this. So I just fill the boxes with some color. I usually use a gray that I want filled with a full box in my filet crochet design. And I have decided I want a border around with full boxes, just because I assume that would give it a little bit of structure. So I'm just going to select all of the boxes on the outside. And I'm going to fill them in gray. And now it's just a matter of trying around with things in the middle of it to see what kind of design would look good. And I'll just do that, and I guess we'll see what I end up with.
Scooped out the devil's punch bowl for a promise of soul. Just one of three he molded for a promise. Now a place where Arthur sleeps until he is needed by England.
Okay, this is the design I came up with. I added one square in the width so I could have a middle point, and I removed one square from the height so I could also have a middle point, because that way I can like arrange things around the middle. I thought that was more practical, and I just played around. As you could see, I had this triangle shape at some point, and then I thought it might be more fun to integrate it into the edges of the bookmark, so I made the little triangle there. I'm going to start crocheting from where it starts as a rectangle, and then I'm going to add the tips on later. I think that would be the smartest way to do that. And for the lines, I just placed them randomly in a way where they are symmetrical and all connect to each other, and it created this flowy design. I like it. The little edges look like hearts. I think that's fun. That was on purpose. We're gonna see if they also look like hearts once I actually crochet this. And now I'm gonna start. I have now 11 boxes in width, and every box represents 3 stitches somehow, like chains of stitches or whatever. So I'm gonna start with 33 chains, and then I'm gonna crochet from there.
Nurturing stone, offering us her harvest. God is worshipped through the centuries, fertile and round, feeding 1,000 hungry lambs. Choose your name now.
Okay, there's a few hours later, and this is the state of things. This is my first bookmark. How do I best show this? Here, maybe. This is what it looks like. It's curling up a little bit, but I will block it later. I will just do the second one as well and then block both of them at the same time. But at the moment, I don't really feel like doing the same exact thing all over again. So I think I'm going to start on the scrunchie and then switch back to the bookmark so I can kind of go back and forth a little bit. I have never knitted or crocheted a scrunchie before. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I think that's a quite common thing to do. I want this yarn up as a center pull ball, but it's not. Oh. Okay, fix it. I assume, there's still hair on this, I assume you just do single crochets all around the hair tie and then whatever. I have tried to watch like half a tutorial this morning and I got bored immediately. So I'm just gonna do whatever. I kind of want it to be a little bit, not flowy, but I don't want it to be too solid. So I think I'm gonna also like skip a few stitches with chains. But yeah, for the first step, I'm just gonna do single crochets all around here. I'm hoping I have enough yarn to make 2, because I don't really just do one scrunchie. Is this how you start? I forget everything about crocheting really if I don't do it. I'm just gonna do a lot of single crochets. I forgot how to do single crochets. Help. This is harder than I thought it would be. It's weirdly difficult for me to switch crochet stitches. Like now that I've been doing double crochets for some hours, it's really hard to switch back to a single crochet. Okay, I got done with my first step, and that is about as far as I had a plan, so no idea what to do now. This is drop spell, by the way, and I am using a 3.5mm hook if anybody's interested in this. I think I'm just gonna like do a double crochet and then skip 2, something like that, because I know this hair tie, like with the hairstyles I make, I will probably wrap this around at least twice, if not 3 times. So I don't know. I don't want it to be too dense. That's not my style. Maybe I should do a triple crochet. I think that would look better. I need more chains now than 2 if I'm skipping 2, right? Because the circumference is getting bigger. I'm doing 3 chains. I'm just going with the flow, really. I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't use this as a tutorial, or do if it turns out good and if you want to. Okay, maybe this doesn't look good. Maybe this is too many skips. Maybe I just skip 1. I think I'll just skip 1. I'll chain 2, skip 1. New plan. I promise usually I'm more organized than this. I don't know what's wrong today.
We forget all the miscarried plans, scattered remains, landfill of words left unsaid, and we forget how much our midwives toil, pleasing her needs, tending her wounds when they did.
Okay, that was truly very quick. It took me maybe half an hour to make both of those. I don't think it even took me that long. But I decided to add a picot edge border on the side. So this is just single crochets, and then I always skipped 2 of the triple crochets underneath and did a little picot bump on the 3rd one. So this is what they look like. And I mean, they have more holes than most people's, but I feel like if I wrap them around themselves like this, they kind of disappear a bit. But now all I have to do is my 2nd bookmark, which I'm relatively confident I can get done today. Probably not while there's still light outside, so I might show it to you tomorrow morning. But I think I'm using a different color than the green I used for the first one, because I have underestimated the amount of crochet thread I need for projects twice now, gravely. So I'm not going to take any chances. It doesn't look like this, what I have on my paper roll right now will make a 2nd bookmark. So I'm switching to something else. I don't know, I have reds and pinks and blues and whites, obviously. So we'll see what color I make. So I will make dinner now, and then I will start, and for the evening I can work on that, and then I'll show you the results.
Mother's mountains and us, moving faster than light. Myths and metaphors, myths and metaphors.
It's the next day, and I finished all of my small crochet projects, so let's go through them. First of all, the scrunchies. This is what they look like. I'm wearing them in my hair right now, and they're definitely cute. For the things that I like about them, first of all, I like that I went a bit smaller and more airy than most of the scrunchie tutorials I saw when I like briefly looked what's out there, just because I think a bigger scrunchie wouldn't really work very well in my hair for the way that I am using them, if that makes sense. And what I also really like about them is that they're incredibly quick and they use very little yarn. So for a gift, I would say this is pretty much perfect if you have somebody in your life who likes to use hair accessories. I think this is an incredibly easy thing to make. This took me maybe 10 to 15 minutes per scrunchie, and you can really use any type of yarn you have at home, so it's pretty easy. For the things I'm not that happy with, I would say while you can use any type of yarn and you will get a scrunchie and it will work, I think there's still some types of yarn that are maybe better suited than others. I use Belle for this, and it's mostly cotton. It has some viscose and some linen, and I would say for my taste it's maybe a bit stiff. I have some leftovers of Drops Melody, and I'm thinking maybe I'll use that to try and make a scrunchie in the future. It's a lot fluffier and floppier and more lightweight. So I think for the type of scrunchie I like, that might work better than this. This is still cute. I will still wear this with an outfit that it goes with, but I don't know. I guess I'll see how much use I get out of this. I will definitely be making these as gifts for friends if I ever need a quick one. For the bookmarks, this is how they turned out. I think they're really cute and they definitely work for the intended purpose. I steam blocked both of these, so now they don't curl anymore and they're just a bit stiffer in general, I feel like. And the reason why I steam block them is I really don't like washing crochet thread, because I did it once or twice before and I always felt like, since this is mostly cotton, it's very dense, it's very tight, it doesn't dry. It takes like 2 or 3 days, at least in my apartment, to be fully dry, and I don't want to wait that long and have something laying around in my way for that long. I also think the results are better when I steam block it. The way I steam block is I take a very normal iron and then I get a dish towel wet and I wring it out, but not like forcefully, just enough so it's not dripping anymore. So it's still pretty wet. And then I just put that over whatever I'm trying to steam block, and depending on what is the item, I will either very gently or more forcefully iron over it. This is not that delicate, so I put a bit more pressure on this, but I've steam blocked brioche stitch before that you don't want to flatten, so I was a bit more gentle with it. And for me that works very well. I think for the filet crochet in general it works really well to steam block it. I think it makes it lay flat a lot better because I've made a doily so far, which is obviously supposed to lay flat, and I have made this bookmark so far, which is also supposed to lay flat. I'm not exactly sure how well it works for clothing, but I'm assuming it won't really matter. I also feel like ever since I blocked it, the design is visible a lot better. Although I also will say when you put it on a book, it's kind of hard to tell what the design is just because it's not a solid color background. But I guess that's to be expected if you make a filet crochet bookmark. Something else I've noticed is before I was only doing filet crochet in the round, and when you do it in the round it kind of makes a lot of sense the way I learned it, that a full box is just 3 double crochets and an empty box is 1 double crochet and 2 chains. I know there's other ways of doing it with just 2 stitches per box, but for the sake of this video it's gonna be 3. So I was thinking about it that way when I started these bookmarks, and then I pretty quickly encountered a problem when I was working flat suddenly, because obviously you turn your work in between. So when you're starting out and you make an empty box, then you do a double crochet and then you do 2 chains. And then when you flip your work, you will suddenly then encounter the 2 chains first and then the double crochet when you're crocheting into them. So I found it a bit complicated to like flip in my head that then I had to do the 2 chains first and then the double crochet to create the same box that would like give me the same type of stitch pattern. So while I was working on it, I started to think of filet crochet more as a net than as a row of boxes, because that way you can imagine the net is made out of double crochets and it always stays the same in every row, and you just fill in the boxes by making 2 double crochets and leave them empty by making 2 chains. But you don't have to have that flipping in your head because then the boxes are symmetrical. I will leave that here in case that helps you while you're also trying to make filet crochet bookmarks or anything else filet crochet related. I will share the chart that I used for this in case you want to make one of these as well. And I hope you enjoyed my little intermezzo here where I just made random little crochet things because it's fun and they're nice gifts. And I will see you next time.